Scientists tell us that we have between 60 and 80,000 thoughts a day, and most of them are negative and untrue. Often they're the bad things that happened to us in the past, keeping us stuck, or they keep us worrying about the future. It's causing stress, which is so harmful. Plus, it hugely negatively impacts our career progression. Is this something you do? This week, I'll be sharing a personal story on how negative chatter impacted me and how I turned it around. Make sure you listen to the end because I'll be sharing 4 sentences to start your day with that are helping me thrive and hopefully will help you too. Now, before I get into the episode, if you like what Sarah and I are doing with the SEO Mindset podcast, then please hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. We've got some great ones coming up. Anyway, you ready to turn your inner chatter around? Let's get cracking. Hi, it's me, Tazmin.
And it's me, Sarah.
Now, Sarah, are you sitting down comfortably?
Always.
Because today we are going to be sharing our innermost thoughts with our listeners. Are you ready for that?
Our innermost thoughts. Crikey. I mean, are our listeners ready?
All right, I'm going to start you off with a question. I'm just going to assume that means yes, okay? Is your inner chatter more negative or positive?
Oh, now I'd love to be one of these people that can say my inner chatter is mainly positive, but actually, I think if I am being honest, and we have to be honest with each other and our listeners, I would say that yes, it possibly does lean more towards negative.
Ooh, because we have so many thoughts. Do you want to have a guess at how many thoughts on average scientists think that we have in a day?
Oh, do you know what? I've seen this stat somewhere before. I know it's in the thousands, isn't it? For some reason, I want to say 2,000.
Whoa, really off, really off. I'll give you one more go because you're my best buddy.
I'm really off.
You're really off. I mean,
200,000.
if okay, now you're just being silly, okay?
I don't know. I don't know what the
From
gauge is.
200,000. Anyway, what do I know? I'm just reading off what research I've done. But they say between 60 and 80,000 thoughts a day. And what's really scary is that they say most of them are negative, as you've already said, about yours. And most of them are untrue, and they're just a repetition of what you thought yesterday. And that doesn't sound great, does it? In this journey of growth that we are encouraging people to do and well-being, if you're going to have so many thoughts, like 60 to 80,000, and you're going to think the same ones each day, and most of them are negative and most of them untrue. So I want to use this episode to try and help people shift their mindsets on that and their chatter.
So
Yeah, what do you think?
so it can be done then. So you can shift your mindset. I suppose it's also retraining your brain, isn't it, as well? But I would love, absolutely love, personally speaking, and a lot of our listeners will resonate with this as well. If we can get a hold of our negative chatter, if we can get a hold of what's all that negative stuff that's going on in our brains, I think we'll feel better about ourselves, but we'd possibly do more things, won't we? We will step outside of our comfort zone.
We will be stepping into a different land. You won't even think of it as inside my comfort zone or outside my comfort zone. It will be a magical place. And after the break, and there's been a couple of things that I've been trying out recently have been really helping me. So I'm going to share that, but I'm going to do that after the break. But I thought we'd spend a bit of time to understand all of the different factors that really impact our chatter. And one of them is our health. You know, if you're not feeling tip top about your health, whether that's physical or mental, it's going to be really hard to have positive inner chatter going on, right?
Yes, I can see how, yeah, health will definitely have an impact on what you're thinking. Yeah, definitely.
And another one, I don't know if this is going to resonate with you, but for me, my environment. So if my house is cluttered, I don't like it. I have to have it clean, especially if I'm going to do like a big piece of um, work, whether it's writing a new talk or writing doing a piece of writing. If my house is dirty, even if I'm upstairs and it's dirty downstairs, I can't handle it.
I do think this is an interesting one because I do think this will divide us because I am the same. So say like in the morning as I'm getting ready for my day of work, if I see anything that needs tidying up from the night before or anything that's on my mind that I just need to sort out, I I don't know why, but I feel like I have to do that first for me to then be able to focus. Whereas Tash, my partner, wouldn't so much. Like, yeah, not that she thrives in chaos sort of thing, but if you compare our desks right now, hers will be everything everywhere, a bit on the messy side. I'm sorry, Tash, I'm throwing you under the bus here, letting it all out. But but like, because there's been times where Tasha's been like, "Oh, leave it, it'll be fine." Like, and I'm just like, it's in my brain. I can't leave it. I need to tidy this up before I can, because I feel like you're clearing your brain. So I think that this will divide quite a lot of people. There'll be people who are like us and being like, yes, I need to tidy up, clear environment, clear mind. Whereas other people, I've got a random thing in my head that Einstein was apparently very messy. I don't know how true that is.
Oh, don't know, don't know. But you know, for many people, environment is really important, and it's really strange because in the sort of like round about now, September, October, November, December time, I get lots of inquiries for coaching. But bizarrely, the ones that then join in January, February, and March, one of their things is about decluttering. I say, I just need to declutter my mind. I need to declutter my house. I need to just, and it's almost like a mental load. And whether people who are naturally caregivers or not naturally, but you know, they're the caregivers, whether that impacts them. Because another thing that helps me concentrate, not so much keeps me in positive mode or negative mode, but just helps me concentrate, is if I've got a fridge full of food. So I like to cook quite a fair bit on Sundays, and I know Monday the fridge is full. We've got homemade nutritional meals, you know, lunch dinners, breakfast, even, um, and I can then concentrate. So it's almost like setting yourself up for success, if that makes sense.
Yes, definitely. Love a bit of setting yourself up for success. Um, and I know this is like a weird segue or a weird thing to relate. But there's lots of ways that you can set yourself up for success, right? And I remember someone giving me advice about, say you want to start to introduce exercise into your daily routine. Someone was like, make it really easy for yourself in the morning. So the night before, next to your bed, have your pile of workout clothes. So literally, you can roll out of bed, whack your workout clothes on, and then you're all good. So there's lots of different ways. That's just one example that immediately comes to my brain, but there's lots of ways that you can set yourself up for success.
Yeah, yeah. So going back to, you know, how what impacts our inner chatter, we've talked about health, we've talked about your environment. People impact your inner
Oh,
chatter. So this can be
yes.
people in the past. This could be parents. This could be teachers. This could be influential peers, so that you may not even have those people in your life currently, but things that they have said, and I'm going to talk a little bit about this after the break as well. Um, they really impact your inner chatter, as do people around you. So if you are surrounded by people, and they might not even be talking about you, but if you have people around you who are, um, they're going for what they want to go for, they're largely positive, they may not say anything to you about what you should do or should not do, but it'll impact you. And we alluded to this, or we spoke about this during our live podcast that we published last week, about the 5 people that you spend the most time with have a huge impact on you. So there's all sorts of aspects that will influence your inner chatter, whether it's your own health, your environment, the people around you. But knowing that is one thing, but then how do you do something about it?
Can I
Oh,
just?
do you want to
I've got.
you want to add one?
I just want to. Can I add two? Can I add two?
Go on then. Go on, it seems we're
is
buddies.
is that allowed?
Yeah.
So also, what I think will impact that inner chatter is perceived fear, how we perceive fear, and also past experiences as well.
Yeah. So
Those
true.
those are two things that instantly come to my mind about, because there has been times where I've sort of noticed the inner chatter and sort of question, okay, where's this coming from? And yeah,
Oh,
some of it is that
right. Yeah.
perceived
Yeah.
fear, and some of it is past experience as well.
Mm. And I love what you just said, that, taking a step back and trying to understand. So the first step of you understanding what your inner chatter is saying and doing something about it is exactly that. Get curious. Don't be judgmental. Don't think, oh no, why am I always thinking negatively? Just get curious and listen to what that chatter is saying, and then challenge it. So if it's saying, no, you can't do that thing because last time you failed, or last time it went horribly wrong, or you know what, don't do that thing because it's really scary. You can challenge that and say, well, it's the worst that could happen. Or just because it didn't work out last time doesn't mean it won't work out this time, because I'm doing X, Y, and Z. And it's almost having a conversation with yourself, but you taking control, not the inner chatter taking control, and using things exactly as you said, perspective and reframing things.
And I think some of us, not, I don't know how to really word it, but it's it's healthy and important to get curious. And I think sometimes people just want to bury their head in the sand instead and just be like, I'm not dealing with this. Or they just let that inner chatter overrule. And we talk about being self aware all the time. But, and I think you've also said about having a bit of a playfulness about it as well. So when this inner chatter comes up and you're understanding what is going on in your brain, with that curiosity, have a bit of playfulness with it as well. And yeah, like, we're all too busy sometimes, but we have to put time aside for ourselves, especially when it comes to understanding how we
Yeah.
tick, basically.
Yeah, and that playfulness. So I remember listening. It was a radio station. I heard this. You know those bells that you get in hotel receptions.
Yes.
Quite a loud bell. Yeah. So the person that's speaking was saying, "Oh, every time a negative thought comes into my mind, I just have that internal bell saying, dismiss, next, dismiss, next thought. Like I haven't got time for this negativity." But yeah, taking a step back and remembering it's just a thought. It's not
Yes.
gospel. It's not the law. It's just a thought. And if you have created that thought, then guess what? You can create another one. Um, it's just it's reminding yourself that you're in control. And actually, if that thing is an unkind thing to say, an untrue thing to say, and you wouldn't say it to somebody else, why are you allowing that narrative in your own head?
Yes, definitely. What's that thing that is it something like if you wouldn't say it to a friend or you wouldn't say it to a partner, don't say it to yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. One thing that's really helped me is I wouldn't say my chatter is majority negative. It was very, very little negative now, but that's taken time. And what's really helped me is journaling. So
Ah,
even now, before it was more growth on a personal level, and that really helped me going from being quite angry most of the time, which people don't believe. When I say to people, "Oh, I used to be really angry," it's then, nah, not you. Um, but that has really helped me get a control of my emotions. But now professionally, growing the business, if I'm not sure what I'm doing, or if I've, could have done something better, journaling about it has really helped, because when it's on paper, you can take a step back because now you're assessing what's on paper rather than what's swimming around in your head.
makes
Do
complete
you journal,
sense.
Sarah?
I'd love to say yes. I have done in the past, and actually, so times that I've journaled is times where I just feel like my brain is full and the anxiety, overwhelm, or emotions are just getting too much. And it's funny, isn't it? Because as soon as you start writing and as soon as you allow whatever's in your brain to come out on paper, it does actually help because you're like freeing up your mind. Um, what I also find helpful as well is during those moments is like if I'm not journaling, sometimes just taking a breather or just like taking a step away from whatever it is that's been the catalyst, because it's never just one thing, is it, that amounts up into the volcano erupting of emotion, let's say. It's always lots of little things. But there will be a catalyst moment. And if I feel like that has happened, I always do try and take a step away, go out with Benny the dog, and just have a moment just to be like, breathe, it's okay. It's not life and death sort of thing.
Yeah. No, you know what you said about having a mind so full that you actually have no room to think. And when you put it on
Yes.
paper, you then create that space. And something good, if people want to try that out, have a book by your bed, and before you go to bed at night, journaling, okay, what did that inner chatter say to me today? Did it stop me doing what I wanted to do? Did it make me do something I didn't want to do? So we often think that that negativity stops you, but sometimes it can make you do things that you want to, especially if, maybe, big people pleaser and you didn't really want to say yes to that thing, but you did. So journaling is a really great one. We're coming up to our break, but a few things I just want to mention, which I'll talk more about after the break. That three things that really helped me: affirmations, meditation, and visualization. So those, a lot of more inner work, but I will talk to you more about that after the break, Sarah.
Well, I don't know about our listeners, Tasmin, but I'm definitely hooked for part two.
So, Sarah, did you enjoy part one, all about why we think what we think and what influences it?
Yes, because it's important for us all to think about that. And especially from a SEO mindset. See what I did there? um, because when you're working in the SEO industry, you're going to have pressures from lots of different places, and that's going to also contribute to your inner chatter because you're going to have pressure from clients, you're going to have pressure from your bosses, you're going to have pressure from other external things that are happening in the industry as well. And inner chatter is definitely, yeah, gonna be apparent in all of those scenarios as well. So I think just a reminder to our listeners, and repeating something that was really poignant, that's a good word, that you said in the first part, is they're just thoughts. And just as you have made up these negative thoughts and they've come into your brain, we can retrain, reframe, and turn. Like, obviously, we can't say to you, following these steps, you will never ever have a bad thought ever again. But just getting more of a handle on it and introducing more positive thoughts.
Yeah. And I think so I wanted to share a story which some of our listeners may have heard, but how reshaping what narrative was going on in my head actually changed so much of my life. So growing up, I was a good student in as much as, I didn't cause trouble or anything like that, but I wasn't particularly clever. So I wasn't a straight A student, anything like that. And people around me would say, "Oh, but Tasman's a poor student." No, they weren't being mean. They were, it, they were just saying it as I thought it was. Didn't mean Doesn't mean that they didn't like me. But growing up thinking that then impacted what I believed about myself. So when people were saying Tasman's a poor student, I believed I was a poor student. That meant I didn't really tap into the potential that I had. Everyone has got more potential than they are absolutely accessing. And then that meant I didn't take the actions that a clever student or a bright student may have done, which was I didn't really study much. And because I didn't really study much, the results I got were not great. And that just furthered my belief in myself that I was a poor student. So those were the thoughts. I didn't beat myself up about it. I just thought, oh, it's okay. I'm not a great student. I'm not going to get great grades. And that's how my life was. Fast forward X number of years for all sorts of reasons. I ended up as a mum of two on a degree course, at completely by accident. I didn't know what I was doing, um, and I remember the first day thinking, "Hang on a sec, I thought I was joining this thing called DipHE. I didn't know it was year two of a degree course." So I spoke to the lecturer afterwards and I said, "I think there's been a big mistake. I can't do a degree. I'm not clever enough to do a degree." And she said, "Well, you're here now. You might as well spend one term, just give it a go." And I'm so glad she said that, because if she'd said leave, I wouldn't be where I am. Anyway, there I was, stuck for a term, one child starting school and the other one in nursery that was joined to this college. And there was a novel there called Angelina. She was also a young mum. And I said, "Oh, Angelina, I don't think I should be here. I'm not very good at studying." And she said, "What do you mean nonsense? What does that even mean, you're not good at studying? Of course you're good at studying. I'll teach you how to be you're good at studying." And she gave me some tips and some strategies, and I tried those out. And for the first time, I thought, "Actually, maybe I can do this." I remember the first piece of coursework we were given, and went over a few weeks. And I said to the lecturer, "I think this is the answer." And she just smiled and said, "Has me write down what you think." So I didn't follow the crowd. I did what I thought. And Sarah, I got an A. I'd never got an A in my life. So if we go back to that belief cycle, suddenly now I'm believing in myself, so tapping into more of my potential, taking actions that were different, which was studying, and then that furthered my belief. So what you say to yourself about yourself can change. You just need to change that narrative. And by fast forward, I then started saying to myself, "I'm going to get a first." I didn't tell many people, because one person I did tell said, "Well, I think you need to be a bit realistic. I mean, you are a mum of two, so maybe you just need to be happy with passing." And I thought, Stop that for a game of soldiers. I'm going to get a first." And I decided. So that's that story, whenever I feel that I can't do something or I'm struggling, I remind myself of that story, and it just changes the narrative in my head. So I thought I'd share.
That is, no, it's a really good story and a really, well, it's not a story, is it? Because it's true. That's a really good reminder that, of course, like we are what we tell ourselves, and it makes sense, doesn't it? Because the more you believe something, the more that you become that thing that you're believing. So, of course, if we change the mindset and be more positive, I think if you have the more positive mindset compared to the more negative mindset, you're gonna A, look for more opportunities, and B, when those opportunities come your way, you're going to snap them up, and C, if you believe something well enough, you're going to put the work in so you achieve it. Whereas if you don't
Yeah,
believe all this, then like in your scenario, if you didn't believe that you'd get a first or an A, or you believed that you wouldn't do well, and you just stuck at where people, not where people wanted to put you, but where that person said, you're a mum of two, you should be maybe idealistic. Sorry, not idealistic. Maybe realistic is just getting a pass. Some people might have held on to that and been like, okay, I'll get a pass and I'll be happy with that. So, yeah, mindset is a massive thing.
yeah. Not to say that it's a pass isn't fine. It also
No,
is
no,
fine.
yes, yeah, definitely.
But but what it does is, so me taking that step, and I'm hugely grateful that things went the way they did, but now it then leaves something for my daughter, for example, because she says, oh, mum did that as a, mum of two, and it breaks that cycle between generations as well. And it's when we talk about positive affirmations and positive thinking, and I think sometimes there is bad press about it, saying, oh, that's, yelling out, I'm amazing, I'm fantastic. For me, that never works. It just doesn't land. But the things that do land is where I take ownership. And I was going to, now, this next bit might go a little bit woo woo-y. Is that a word? Woo
Woo
woo-y?
woo. It just makes me smile because I've heard you say this before. Like, bear with me, we might get a bit woo
Bear
woo,
with me.
but maybe we need to stop saying that, Tasman, because
Oh, well,
well, I don't know.
okay, right. So, Sarah, and everyone listening. So, I've told you my story, and I said before the break that I was going to share some affirmations and some things that I'm doing at the minute that are really helping me, and I'm going to share with them with you. But feel free to do them alongside me. So, if
Okay,
you, I mean, not you, Sarah, I'm not going to pause anything. You're just going to have to run with it at the speed that I say it. But if you're listening to this episode and you want to just hit the pause button and take a little bit longer thinking about what I just said, then feel free to do so.
you can always hit that pause button and just hit play when you're ready to continue.
Yes. Okay. So there are four statements that I say to myself first thing in the morning, not exactly when I wake up, but in the first half hour, which really ground me for the rest of the day. So the first one is, I am the creator of my own destiny. And
Nice.
what that does, it reminds me to take ownership.
Yes. You're not
So
wait.
for
You're
ex
not. You're
yeah,
not waiting on anyone else. You're not leaning on anyone
no,
else. You are solely responsible
yeah,
for, yeah, your growth and what you want to achieve.
yeah. So for example, this morning, you, myself, and Jack had a talk about the live podcast and what we wanted to do next. So when I said to myself in the morning, I'm the creator of my own destiny, questions that came up is, okay, what are my thoughts on the live? There's another big piece of work I'm doing. What do I want to do there? Even working on the topic that we're going to be talking about in Barcelona next week, how do I think that conversation could be framed? So this isn't about big destiny choices. This is today. What am I going to do today that's going to shape my destiny in a way that I want to shape it?
Yes, good reminder.
Yeah.
Love that one. Okay, what's number two?
Okay. My energy creates my reality.
My energy creates my reality. Okay, tell me more.
Okay. Right. What this reminds me of is the way I approach a situation will impact its reality. And I'm going to give you a really non-work related story. Uh, we're having some work done downstairs, um, and part of it is building what I'm calling the library. Hussein laughs at me saying it's not a library, but in my mind it's a library.
If you want it
Anyway,
to
the
be a
person
library,
who's
Tasman, it will be a library.
I have even said to him, I'm going to get a sign that says library and put it on the door.
Tasman's library.
Anyway, so this morning, the person who's building it, I said to him that I think we need an extra shelf here. And he said, absolutely, I'll do it. Then he calls me from downstairs and says, we've got a problem. And you could see him like panicking a little bit. And I said, well, what's the problem? He said, oh, because I cut that extra shelf, that means we haven't got enough wood for all of the four doors that I need. I had enough wood for the doors, and now I don't have enough wood for the doors. And to get a big sheet of wood just to cut one door, it's a lot of money. So I just took a deep breath and thought, what does this next 2 minutes need from me?
Okay.
And it needs me to be calm. Let's be calm. Let's see where we are and see if we can work out a solution. So then I saw this pile of wood in the corner. I said, oh, what's that? He said, oh, those are the scraps. And I said, oh, could we use some of this for one of those doors? And we had to do a little bit of jiggery pokery, but within 5 minutes, the problem was solved.
Okay, so this is a good reminder that yes, I can completely get now where you say your what is it? Your energy.
Creates my reality.
Yes, because you if you can bring calmness to a situation and provide clarity or have I'm just trying to think of so an example if you're working in SEO maybe you have a client who's worried because traffic has gone down or marketing's not going in the way it was going, and obviously the client is going to be in that panic mode, aren't they? And be stressing and fretting like what's going on, whereas like if you can be the calming influence and be like we understand your feelings, however we're going to look into the data, we're going to have a look at what's going on, and we're going to make a plan. Because one thing that we know for certain in life and in SEO is things don't always go to plan.
And I think also here we're talking about calm energy. I think it's also about being excited about things. So if you're one of your jobs is doing outreach, or if you're writing a pitch to speak, and you're thinking, oh no, I'm never going to get this. Why would they want to listen to my talk? But if you go in with that energy, you're not going to write the things that you're excited about and that you really want to share. It's about also being excited and thinking, you know what, it's going to be great. They're going to love my talk. If nothing else, you're getting practice at writing great pitches. So your energy creates your reality. And if you want a great role, if you are applying for jobs and you're seeking that ideal role, and you're excited and feeling confident about yourself, you're going to go for those job applications that are maybe going to stretch you a little bit. But if you go in with the energy saying, oh, the job market's really bad, no one's going to hire me, I haven't got this and I haven't got that, and blah, 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 doesn't mean that you don't go and fill the gaps that you know are there. but go in with the energy of confidence and being excited. So it's not just about being calm, but it's knowing, what energy do I want to take into this situation? The third statement I say to myself is, I am whole and complete right now. And what that does is it reduces the doubt and it increases my confidence. Because so many times we start the day, we go through the day thinking about all of the things that we don't know or don't have instead of what we do have. So that one really helps me because again, it's that lack of self-doubt, or it's reducing that self-doubt in myself. And the last one is, I'm connected to infinite opportunities. Because too often we limit what we think is possible for ourselves. Now, using the example of Barcelona, a few years ago, about 3 years ago, you said, "Oh, wouldn't it be great to do a live podcast?" Now, if I had said, "Oh no, Sarah, who's going to want that?" But you were excited about it and you said, "No, no, you know what? I'm going to contact so and so in Brighton." And we had that meeting and suddenly it was possible. And now we've done 6. And now we're now be going international. And it started because you tapped into the opportunities that you had.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely, yeah. Because if I think back to, well, the reason I am where I am now, so I am running a podcast that's been going for 3 years, and we know it's like a resource that the community absolutely loves and raves about. We do live podcasts together. We're now going international, like you've said. The fact that I freelance and I have my own recording studio in Worcester, and all of these different exciting opportunities, like, they've happened because that you've got to be brave, haven't you, to say yes to things. Or whenever there's like an idea that comes up in your brain, I imagine there's a lot of people who would think, "Oh, wouldn't it be amazing if we did this?" And then straight after that thought, all that inner chatter of like, "You can't do this because of this, you can't do that because of that." And we could have easily let our inner chatter stop the live podcast, but we didn't, and we carried on. And you know what we've created is something quite wholesome. And yeah, like, it's, you've got to be excited, you've got to take on opportunities.
Mm. So, right at the beginning of the episode, when I said to you, we're going to be talking about inner chatter and most of our thoughts are negative, and you said, wouldn't it be great if we could find a way of changing that so that most of our thoughts are positive? So, doing things like journaling, doing things like being curious and being willing to challenge your inner chatter, having practices such as this, 4 statements that you make first thing in the morning, all of this lends itself to reshaping. Because if you don't change, if nothing changes, nothing changes. So if you do nothing different, nothing is going to be different. If you want things to be different, start doing things that are different.
And do you know what I love? Because you said that during your talk during Brighton SEO, if nothing changes, nothing changes. And it is so true.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think sometimes we can get stuck in being negative, in that downward spiral. We can also get stuck in the mindset of like, nothing happens for me, no opportunities happen, I'm stuck in what I'm
Hmm.
doing. However, as soon as we change the mindset, and these affirmations are great to do because it's that reminder in the morning. And what
Hmm.
I'd be really interested in is anyone that's listening to this podcast, if they have other affirmations that they say to themselves in the morning. It'd be really interesting to see what else other people say. But yeah, these affirmations, it might, to those who are like, "Oh, I think I feel a bit silly saying this," Like, you
Yes.
might feel a bit silly at first, but the more that you do it, the more that you get used to it. Like, the more that it won't feel silly anymore.
Yeah.
You don't have to do it in front of a mirror either. Like, if you feel like seeing yourself looking back at you will be off-putting, and you can do it where no one's listening as well. So there's lots of ways. I'm very sorry. I've got a very nervous dog today because
Oh,
we
bless. Bless.
we are recording on bonfire night in the UK, and I didn't think about this when we scheduled this in. So I am doing my best to record this podcast and keep a dog very calm at at the
Bless.
same time.
Bless. But there will be people who are cynical, and you know what? If your life is perfect, carry on. Don't do any of these things. But if you are thinking, you know what, I want to look at something more in life or something different, give it a go. I definitely was a cynic. I remember the first time I heard about affirmations, and I said to the person telling me, saying, "Oh, I don't do affirmations," and he said, "You just did one." By saying I don't do affirmations, you just did an affirmation. So,
And
and here
I
I am now, years later, telling everyone else to do them.
And I just want to chat like the people. Oh, there's an alarm going off. Um, and I just want to challenge the people that are cynical. Give it a go. Like,
Yeah.
but I mean, I suppose if you're cynical, it's probably not going to work as well. But I suppose we're just inviting people, be open-minded. Like, don't be cynical. Try these things because you just never know.
Yes.
And if something doesn't feel right or you don't want to do it anymore, don't. But you've got to at least try. You've got to at least try. And when you do
Yes.
try, be open-minded.
You have to feel it. If you don't feel it, if you're going to go, my energy creates my reality. If you're going to talk like that, then don't bother. Go and make a cup of tea. But if you are going to say it with conviction and feel, and just feel your heart. Is it soaring? Is it feeling pumped? Are you feeling excited? Are you feeling optimistic? Because if you're not feeling those things, it's not going to work.
Shall I try one? Let check my
Yeah, go on.
energy. Is this enough?
Yeah,
So, hand on heart, everyone. I'm going to say the last one.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
going to say it with gumption. I am
Go on then.
connected to infinite opportunities.
Yeah. See, did you feel it,
I
Sarah?
kind
Do you
of
feel
did.
excited?
I did
Yeah.
feel excited. I felt it.
Oh, we're coming up to the end of our episode, and didn't get to talk about the 1 minute manifestation technique that I've discovered.
Oh, can we tease people and say that we'll squeeze that in on another episode?
Yeah, we'll do a whole episode on visualization. How about that?
Well, um, now we're teasing. Obviously, you said that we've come to the
Mm.
end of this episode. What have we got in store? What are the topics have we got coming up for our lovely listeners over the next couple of weeks?
We've got some goodies. We've got one on boundaries, one on celebrating wins and why we should do it, and the visualization one that I just decided right now. We'll do one on visualization. I did want to do one on change because we're going to be talking about change at in Barcelona, but maybe go into the psychology of change and why change is so
We
hard.
should just
Um,
pause a minute because,
yeah.
of course, not everyone knows this because we've not like officially said it yet,
Ooh.
have we? Or maybe we have. I can't remember.
Oh,
But
I
next
made a
week,
boo-boo, Sarah.
next, who made a boo boo?
I think I made a boo-boo.
Well, you never make a boo boo. No one ever makes a boo boo. Yeah. But anyway, so this next week, me, Tasmin, and Jack are taking the live podcast to the International Search Summit in Barcelona. So thank you to International Search Summit for inviting us. We're very much looking forward to that. But of course, one of our episodes will be the live recording that we do during the live podcast. So we've got that coming up as well.
So lots of really great episodes coming up. And all I can say to everyone is we have episodes coming out every Thursday. Some goodies are in store. So subscribe. That way you never, ever miss an
Yes.
episode.
And it doesn't cost anything to subscribe either. You just open up Spotify,
No.
hit follow, and then whenever we publish an episode, you'll be notified.
Yeah. And if you subscribe, you get to be part of our gang. And who doesn't want to be part of our gang?
I want to be part of our gang.
We're a gang. Anyway, that brings us to the end of our episode, Sarah. I hope you've enjoyed this one.
I have very much enjoyed this episode, and I'm also going to encourage people that if you've not yet listened to the live podcast that we recorded during Brighton SEO, the one about how social health helps with career progression, I'll make sure that there's a link in the show notes so you can listen to that as well. So there's lots of reasons why you need to subscribe, lots of fabulous episodes coming up, but we have a back catalogue of lots of wonderful episodes as well. So I'll link to the live podcast, but also just go and check out, and especially if you're new to us, go and have a look, go and see what else we've got, because we've covered quite a lot in the last 3 years.
We have indeed. We have. Anyway, so it is now time to say goodbye, Sarah.
Okay, goodbye. Thanks for listening, and until next time.
Until next time, everyone, take care.